The reason I want to do a podcast is because I am finding more and more people are coming into their gifts, but also more and more people are just going through a spiritual awakening. They're ascending and they don't understand what they're going through. And I have loved being able to help them understand through the messages that I receive before I get ready to do a session with them.
Mhm.
It helps give them clarity, understanding, and knowing that they're not weird. They're not losing their minds. This is what's happening. This is why it's happening. And I just feel like more and more people, as we are ascending and we're leveling up, going to a new earth, more and more light workers are coming forth and are needed. So that's why I wanted to create this, is to give people a safe space for all things woo-woo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that word, woo woo.
Me too.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I
And you and
think that.
I met, what, last year in a
Mhm.
development class. We were both taking psychic mediumship classes. And that's sort of how our connection started. And what are your gifts, Erica?
So I'm considered an evidential medium. And as I sort of do some research about what I am or why I'm not called, something different, it's because I give people evidence that I'm actually connecting to their loved ones that have passed on. This is like information I'll get, like I can see their animals, I can get events, I can see, you name it, I see it or hear it or feel it. There's all kinds of different reasons that makes me an evidential psychic medium. I don't really like to say I predict future, which is like a regular psychic. They will say, well, I can predict your future or something like that. I mean, I can definitely ask the loved ones or spirit guides the questions that people have for me, but I also say in that I think everyone makes their own destinies. You can change your mind any second of the day and sort of evolve and change your own future. You can do that on your own. And I'd like
Free
to be,
will always
yeah,
intercedes all of that. And so, like you're saying, the loved ones in spirit are giving you the most likely outcome in this moment.
right. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, yeah, I mean, and I've done that a lot with this past year with meeting a lot of people. I mean, you meet hundreds of people in one year. It's crazy. How do you keep track? But there's a lot of people that are my regular clients, and they've all said to me, well, you were right about this. Oh my gosh. And at the time, I'll give you one quick example. One of my regulars, I had said to her, well, I'm getting that your boyfriend, husband, is going to have a different job in 3 weeks. He's going to hear about a different job. And she was like, no, no, he's been at the same job. Nope, not moving. I said, well, that's okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, sure enough, she sent me a message, set up another appointment with me, and said, oh my gosh, you were so right. We didn't think he was going to get a different job, and he did. So I think that sort of gives hope to people if they can ask me a question and I can give them some information. It sort of alleviates pressure from them. It sort of answers questions for them. It sort of gives them this hope that there's more to life in what they're living and what they're doing. And yeah, so I kind of do all of that. It's like a lot that I am able to do, but
Well,
from God.
prove that there's life after life,
Right.
basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because how would I know my information unless I'm hearing it from where I'm hearing it from? I don't,
Right.
yeah.
So I'm also a psychic medium, as you know. I'm also I do energy healing of both people's energies around their body, their energy field, their auric field. But I've also recently discovered that I can also clear space, physical spaces as well. I do teach how to develop your spiritual gifts. A lot of people are wanting to know what their gifts are. So I had so many requests for that. I decided to start teaching it to identify what your gifts are, how to use them, how to protect yourself, how to make sure that you're drawing forth the right information. So I do teach people that because I found such a need for that. I can also connect with pets, both living and past, but I feel like the one thing that I am most humbled by is my ability to telepathically communicate with those who are nonverbal, either due to Alzheimer's, aphasia, autism, or Parkinson's. And it is telepathic communication. And that brings a lot of comfort to families who long for that communication, long for that, what do they want to say? It brings a lot of, I think that what both of us, what we both do is we bring hope and comfort to
Right.
people.
Right. That's the exact reason I do what I do is because I don't look for like, accolades and awards and, look at me. I just want to help people. That's my thing is to help people. I could do it
Exactly.
anonymously. I would be fine with that. And I think for you, your gifts are so evolving. Like you're always learning. You're always not only learning, but wanting to learn and wanting to help. And I think that's why you are learning because you want to do it. It's not just looking for a, paycheck or looking for,
Right.
like I said, the awards and things like that. I don't do it for anything like that. I mean,
No,
yeah, we like to help. And I think that's why we were given this gift is to, these abilities is because we want to be able to do that for people.
I feel like you have to have a servant's heart to
Right.
do this because it is serving others.
Yeah.
And I think that we're all learning, evolving, and growing. And I find that as I learn new information, it seems like God, spirit, universe, whatever you connect with, for me, it's God, brings those types of people into my life for readings and to give them that clarity. And it's something I'm really grateful for.
Yeah.
How did you come into your gifts, or how did you know?
Well, I knew since I was very little that I had abilities, but I never told anybody except a couple of my sisters and a couple of cousins, maybe, some of my friends, but not very many, because I didn't really know what it meant. I mean, I knew not everybody had the gifts. I just knew that already, but it's almost like I was maybe about 3 years old and I knew that there was something different about me. um People would say maybe I had an old soul or whatever it was. I was very smart for my age, very smart, and I always wondered, well, are people like born smart or do they live different lives, many lives, and they learn the stuff and retain it as they continue through the lives? I also, at 3 years old, walking around talking about reincarnation, talking about
Wow.
myself being, having diphtheria when I was three. And I went in the house. I remember I went in and said, "What's diphtheria?" And everybody in the house thought I was like, "We don't know what that word is. Did you make up that word?" And I said, "No, that's how I died." And I have many lives that I know that I could talk about. We'll do that another day, obviously. But to have like the knowing that somebody's going to die is probably the most it's probably what really showed me the most that that's what I had. It was abilities, knowing because I would know somebody was going to die. It could have been anybody, not only just family, friends, but famous people and things like that. And to be able to know that is a little scary. And so
Yeah.
I wanted to rein it in and figure out why I have these abilities and what am I supposed to do with them? Because obviously, if I have them, God must want me to have them for a reason. So yeah, it took me a while. It took me a while to get into it and want to do it and
Sure.
stuff like that and learn more and more. And I think that just learning the most as doing it, even now that I do it and I've been doing it for a while, for people, I learn more all the time.
Right.
Same as you. I know you have come, so far. Not that you were any lower in a year from, we just passed this whole year. We've known each other, but I mean, I've noticed how your gifts are just expanding incredibly. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thanks. When I was younger, I knew I had something, but I grew up the oldest of eight kids in a very conservative religious background. I grew up Mormon, and those were things with that traditional background that you just didn't discuss. They were considered, evil and of the devil. If it's not in the Bible, and the Bible says, kind of thing. But interestingly enough, my mom had the gift as well.
Mm.
Only our immediate family knew, my siblings and my dad. But so I just shut it off. I mean, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
Well, then last June, I had a reading from a mutual friend of ours, And it was like a door swung open. I left my job in corporate healthcare and I started giving readings a week later. It was like I could no longer deny these gifts. And it wasn't even really a conscious choice. It just happened. And it's kind of, as you know, that's where you and I met when I took my first class. And the growth has not stopped since then. But without, and that's what I'm finding a lot of people too, is like they have these gifts, they don't know what to call them, they
Yeah,
don't know what the name is. And that's where I think we bring so much comfort to people, is helping them to realize this is what it's called. This
right.
is what you have, or, helping them discover that part of themselves. Because without guidance, it can be a really scary place.
Yeah, I was at that point last year before we started taking these classes and things like that where we met. But I knew that I would know things and I would hear things that weren't my own thoughts, but they sounded like my own thoughts. And I didn't realize that that was spirit or my spirit guides or whoever it was
Right,
coming from. So, the person that taught us our class, she's the one that said, "Well, yeah, those are you're psychic. This is what that means for you." And
right.
I didn't know that. I mean, it was very strange to even comprehend that because then I had to go back into my memories and think about all of these years, all of the things that happened. I was being psychically open to learning and doing and helping and all of these things that sort of came about. Oh my gosh, so many things happened that
Wasn't it such a relief that somebody was able to label it
yeah,
for you
yeah, yeah,
and say, no, you're not crazy. This is what it's called.
right, right, yeah. And I was raised, Catholic and was married to a man who was Catholic, and I never told him about it, never told him anything about it. And now that I have a bunch of psychic friends, of course, we get together and we read each other, and he comes through all the time, and he's amazed and stuff. So,
The Psychic Friends Network.
right.
What is your process like when you're getting ready for a reading, or, do you see things, hear things? Like, what does that look like for you?
Well, I start out with a meditation. I have to calm my own brain down. My brain is always going, 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 and I have to totally shut it down. And so I do a pretty lengthy meditation. I should probably do more. It would probably help me. But when I do this, I plan, 45 minutes to get ready to meditate. And then I also pray. I pray to God, give God thank yous, you know, thank you for, having me do this. Thank you. And help me people, I can't say this right, help me help the people that I need to. Um, and then I give very clear, helpful messages, not just, making people more anxiety ridden about life. It's my job is to sort of help people. And so I
Right,
do the meditation, I do the prayer. And then when I'm ready to do it, I actually have to tell my body and my brain and everything that I'm open. Tell the spirit world I'm open now. Because if I don't do that, I get drained all day long. If I don't
oh,
control,
yeah,
I have to control it now. Yeah. Where before I would
absolutely.
constantly get, messages and hear things and know things. And now I have to say, look, I'm not open right now. I'm closed for the day because
Yeah,
it's physically and mentally draining to me. And
oh, yeah.
so yeah, that's my process. And then when I get started with somebody, I set up my Zoom. I prefer Zoom so I can have this one-on-one with somebody and see them. And they can see me, and I can do readings without that. I can do by the phone or whatever. But I prefer the it's more of an intimate. I don't know if that's the right word. Meeting with somebody, but
More personal, yeah.
yeah. Now, what about you? What do you do to get yourself ready?
So for me, I do very similar things, but for me, I have to open up all my chakras, which are the seven energy points in the body. I ask that my spirit guides and the spirit guides of whoever I'm helping, that they come through and that they guide me and this person. I ask to be a clear channel because, at the end of the day, my job is to be a channel. The messages are not coming from me, they're coming through me.
Right.
And I ask that I have clarity and that I have truth and that only goodness and light comes through for both myself and the person that I'm working with. And then after the session, I will say the connection is now closed. And for me, I see a zipper closing at the top of my crown chakra. That's my way of saying, we're done now. And the really interesting thing about that is I get almost like what I call spiritual amnesia. I completely forget about what we discussed.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't need to remember. I don't need to carry it around with me. It's not mine to carry. And so that's like a beautiful gift that I give myself of we're done. Shut it down. I
Yeah.
also will light white candles to let spirit know, hey, that's my sign. I'm ready.
Okay. I do some I have white sage and I use Palo Santo as well. I sort of cleanse and clear my whole
Me
space.
too.
I
Yeah. Yep.
walk around and do that. And then after
And
I'm done,
after.
yep, for sure after. Always gotta clear it out, because as you know, I've been sick from it, not clearing enough and
Oh, yeah.
protecting enough, protection.
The other part of my process that I can't even believe I forgot to say was that I do something called automatic writing. And I teach people how to do this as well, but I'll get really still and then I'll say, okay, spirit, what does this person need to know? And then it just starts flowing and I start typing on my laptop. Some people do automatic writing on pen and paper. For me, it went so fast I couldn't read my handwriting, so that was useless.
Yeah.
So before a session, I have already done the automatic writing for the client. I've already got it all out, what needs to be said, what they're meant to hear. So that's the other piece of my process as well.
Yeah.
So it's a very fascinating world. And I know that we've got some upcoming guests, Erica. I know you and I have talked about what would people want to learn about. So I know that some of the topics that we've come up with that we'll be doing in the future are paranormal stories, shadow people, Akashic records, past life regression, aura readings, tarot, channeling, energy healings. What do you do when you encounter those dark spirits? Astrology, and just so many wonderful things that we're going to be discussing. And we've got some great guests lined up. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am too. I think that there's plenty of help that's needed by people like us. And we know people, and I want to get as many people as we can in our podcast and have people talk about their experiences, talk about topics that, not everybody knows, just because we're psychic doesn't mean we know everything. I also wrote down some topics. I think that we're just going to, play it every day that we do a podcast. It's going to have a new topic, maybe two topics, maybe a person. But some of the things that I came up with that we should probably discuss for people would be like, how, well, we already sort of mentioned like how does the information come to us, but we have boundaries, we have ethics, we have, psychic, we have medium. What's the differences between these things? What it's like to actually get a reading for people who have never had a reading, what they can expect. And
Right.
people have, a lot of sort of, Hollywood has sort of made psychics a certain way, or you've got these famous people on TV, they do things a certain way. I'm different, but I'm also
Yeah.
very similar. So, we all have our own thing. And in another year, we'll both probably be, different than we are today. It's just all kinds of different ways to go about it. And, I also think that we're going to talk about, some of the strange things that we've come up with or that we've said or scary things that we've seen or had to tell somebody. Talk about what clairvoyant means, claircognizant, what do all these things mean? There's, was there 7 of them, I think, right?
Yeah. Claircognizance, clairsentient. Everybody's heard of clairvoyant, but not everybody knows about the other clairs. So
Yeah,
we'll talk about those as well.
yeah. Clairalience is smell.
Smelling.
I have that sense
Yeah.
of smell. Yeah. Um, we also want to educate people, how to strengthen their own intuition, which is something that you're pretty good at.
Absolutely.
That's your specialty, I think, nowadays. How to interpret the signs that they get from spirit, from the other side,
Absolutely.
whatever it might be. Sort of going on myths and misconceptions about psychics. We're not all of us. We don't worship the devil. We don't do things, chants and what is that called?
No,
Pentagram? I don't even know. I don't
I
do.
don't even know, but I know I don't do it.
Yeah, I would say I don't need to know what it is. But also talking about past lives and reincarnation and
Yeah, that's your
incarnation.
thing.
Yeah, talk about that with people. So yeah, and why do some spirits come through and some don't?
That's
We
a
don't have
great one.
control. We just We can do what we can do. And I usually can get an answer as to why there isn't somebody coming through for that person. They want that one person or they want that one message. And it takes me a minute, but I can usually get to it. And it could be the way that people come to me after their past is they show me how they are in life, what they were in life, like in life. And if I talk about their mother, father, grandmother, cousin, whoever it might be, their friend, I have to mention how they were so that the person can recognize that, okay, well, your mother
Absolutely.
was religious and she wouldn't have a conversation with a psychic.
That has happened to me as well. Like, no, I don't believe in that.
Yeah,
That still exists. I know that sometimes too, I will feel the physical sensations of how they passed,
I do too.
which is the clairsentient
Yeah,
part of our gifts.
yeah,
So if someone had respiratory issues or congestive heart failure, I will feel a shortness of breath.
yeah,
So my body starts to emulate
yeah,
what it's
yeah.
that soul's telling me.
Yeah, I'm the same. Also, how they passed away. And actually they leave it with me until I articulate it, until I
Mm,
say, well, your father, oh my God, I'll feel the heart, I'll feel the falling down,
right,
I felt gunshots, I felt stranglings, I felt drownings, I feel it. And I have to
right.
say it so that they recognize that this is their person. One quick example, which I will always remember, is I had a brother and a sister that were in their 60s. They booked me for an hour. They were together, no big deal. So we did the whole reading. And then we had maybe 10 minutes left. And I said, well, do you have anybody else that you'd like to have come through? And they said, well, not, we didn't really know. We brought through everybody we wanted. We don't know. I said, that's okay. But then I started feeling this massive chest pain, typical heart attack kind of thing. And then I was seeing my images. I was talking about a man, a young man. He was only 19 at the time. And I said, is this the father of your child? And she said, well, yeah, but he died. He died at 19. And yeah, sounds like him, but he didn't have a heart attack. And I said, well, no, that's what you think. You guys think he drowned because he was found in a car. And they assumed because it was 40 years ago that he drowned. And I said, no, he had the heart attack first before he drowned. He didn't suffer through the drowning. Yeah, it was very sad. And that will
Oh,
always stick
wow.
with me. Yeah. Um, but it affects people in very good ways. It helps people. So here we are
Well, it
around.
gives closure
Yeah.
and it gives hope
Yeah.
that death is not the end,
Correct.
and that they will see their loved ones again. And so I think that's the greatest gift of all about our gifts is being able to provide that comfort for others.
Yeah.
So we've got some exciting stuff coming up, Erica. I cannot wait to get back together again next week with next week's guest.
I know. Well, I'm excited too, because we do this linking. We get together, we do group readings. And so this will be a live thing people can watch. It will be a
Absolutely.
podcast. They can see it and see how we do things and how we help the people. And we might be a little unfiltered here and there, but that's okay. It's all good.
That's okay. What comes through is meant to come through. So
Yep.
next week's guest speaker is a palm reader. And I've had my palm read by her, and she is more scientist. This is not like a carnival sideshow. There is a real art to this, and I'm really excited to have her on to
Okay.
share that with us.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's all
All
good.
right, Erica, till next time.
Okay. See you later.
Bye.
Okay, bye.